All right, we're going to get started on this review, Amazon quiz review. Prepare for the Amazon quiz that you're going to take at the end. Reviewing the top questions that were missed on the quiz, along with a few extra. First, we'll review this one here. So what is the slope of y equals 3x plus 6? So we can see on here, and write this on your paper. So the equation is y equals 3x plus 6. So write that equation down and then we'll label. So this 3 is our m, 6 is our b. So m is always slope, and b is our y-intercept. So here the slope would be m. So the 3 in front of the x is our slope. So our answer is going to be 3 on this one. This was number 16. It asks us to find the location of the y-intercept. So we look at the y-axis right here. We look at where it crosses. So it looks like it's crossing somewhere around -2. So somewhere over there on the y-axis. So let's say -2 is the y-intercept. So b equals -2. So the coordinate, when you write a y-intercept, it's always going to be x will always be equal to 0. And then the y-intercept is what goes here. So 0 comma y, y being the y-intercept, or b. We'll label this b. Our y-intercept. So in this case, we got our answer to be -2. So 0 comma -2 is our answer. I should have this written down on your paper. So write down what I'm writing down. Number 17, a lifeguard earns $320 per week, working 48 hours plus $12 per hour, worked over 40 hours. A lifeguard can work a maximum of 60 hours a week, which graph best represents the lifeguard's weekly earnings after working at 8 hours over 40. So the keyword here would be over 40. So we know he can work, first he works up to 40 hours. So once he works that initial 40 hours, so 40 hours, it gets him $320 for the week. So make $320 for the week for the initial 40 hours. And then he can work up to 60. So that means he could work 20 more. So 60 maximum. So 60 minus 40 equals 20. So he or she can work 20 more hours. So we're starting, the question says, which graph best represents the lifeguard's weekly earnings in dollars for working H over 40? So we're already assuming he worked 40 and got his initial 320. So the y-intercept should be at 320. So we should have a graph that has 320. So we can eliminate answer choice H already, and the answer choice J. And so y-intercept is not correct here. So it's either between F or G. So the way that I thought it would make sense to look at the answer between F and G is you could calculate the maximum amount that he or she could make. So the maximum amount would be working an extra 20 hours for a total of 60 hours. So let's take the initial amount, the $320 plus $20 So 20 hours times the hourly rate of $12 an hour. If you add 320 plus 20 times 12, that'll tell us the total amount maximum the lifeguard can make. So you can just use a calculator for this first part. So 20 times 12 equals 240. So 240 plus 320 equals 560. So our answer should have 560 as the maximum value. So I'm looking at graph F, and it looks like the maximum value is around 480 or so. So this can't be right. And then graph G, it does go to 560 on the y-axis. So graph G is our answer here. Number 6. So this one threw some people off. What is a rise over run of y equals 3x plus 6? So rise over run, as you know, that talks about slope. Slope equals rise over run. So therefore, okay, here we know the slope m is 3, the number in front of x. So the slope is 3. And like I said in class, if you see a whole number as a slope, the rise over run is that number over 1. So therefore, rise over run, write this on your paper, rise over run. For 3 equals, the rise is 3, the run is 1. The rise is 3, the run is 1. So therefore, the answer is A. Okay, so number 10, it says, what is the range of the graph? This is a review of what we did a long time ago, talking about range. So on your paper, write range is y values. So we're looking for y values for the range. So how far does it go on the x-axis? You can see it goes from 2 on the x-axis all the way up to, looks like around 4 or 5. So it goes from 2, y equals 2 to y equals 5. So we'll write 2 less. So in this case, since it's a black dot, instead of saying less than, we'll say less than or equal to. And then it will be y, that's y values, less than or equal to 5. So then that'll be, we can eliminate this and this, because it has x. So it's going to be answer choice C. For answer choice G to have been correct, it would have had to have been a open dot like this in the same location. Then answer choice G would have been correct. With the black dot means it can be equal to. Okay, number 11 said, would you graph the following with a dash or solid line? Okay, so the greater than or less than, write this on your paper. You use the dashed line. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to is solid. So in this case, of course, the answer would be dashed based on that. Number 12, calculate the slope from the table. Pardon this interruption. We're going to calculate the slope here. You can use the formula. So write on your page, m, which is slope, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And when you have a table, you can just do this simply by drawing the arrow. So m, write this on your paper, rise over run. And we're going to start. So rise is a change in y, The run is a change in x. And we'll draw our arrows to show the increase. So from 3 to 5, it goes up 2. From 5 to 7, it goes up 2. So on and so forth. So the rise is 2, also known as a change in y. That triangle y means delta y, the change in y. Then the change in x, it goes from -2 to -1. So if you didn't know what that was, do -1 minus -2. That's 1. It goes up 1. From -1 to 0 goes up 1. From 0 to 1, it goes up 1. So every time the x is going up by 1, delta x is 1. So 2 over 1, or you can just write it as 2. M equals 2. So number 12 says calculate the slope from the table. Now we're going to write the equation of the graph. Some of y'all might look confused like this guy. This is the same thing that we did yesterday in the last class period. So first we calculate the slope. We already calculated the slope. It's 2 over 1, or just 2 for short. And now we are going to go to the next step here, find the y-intercept. So y-intercept, or b, let's write this. So b is a y-intercept. Like I said before, it's always going to be written as a place where x is 0, and then we have to find whatever the y-intercept is, b, when x is 0. So in the table, it actually includes it already. When x is 0, y is 7, that's the y-intercept. So it would look like a graph where there's a y-intercept at 7, y equals 7. So 0, 7 is a point on the graph. So then our equation would be, it's going to be y equals mx plus b. So right on your page, y equals mx plus b. We know what the m is. That's our slope. It's 2, and our b is 7. So our final answer is y equals 2x plus 7. That'll be our answer. So henceforth, you guys should be the masters of linear equations.